Good morning, everybody. How are you? I promised I would do a little thing about phantom pregnancies because I know a lot of you are struggling with working it out and how to prevent it. And although I put it in my book, I thought it would be a good idea if I explained it verbally. So the first thing to remember is that it's really natural for a bitch to have a phantom pregnancy. It only really gets sad for them and a bit upsetting when they go to the end of a pregnancy, of a phantom pregnancy, and they're nesting and carrying around toys and they've got big boobs and they're just a bit miserable. Their mood is just quite low otherwise, which is pretty much as it is in a pregnant bitch. She's just lower in her excitement levels. So it's natural. It exists so that in a wild pack, the alpha bitch who's had puppies can continue to go out hunting, leaving the beta females sometimes to take care of the puppies and be able to feed them. So it is perfectly natural. To understand the timeline is really important in avoiding phantom pregnancies. So to a bitch, the state of pseudo-pregnancy, phantom pregnancy, is exactly the same hormonally as it is in a pregnant bitch. There are some very small exceptions with leucine, I think it's called, leucine hormone, and the prolactin hormone, but they tend to engage a bit later on. So to a bitch, whether she's been mated or not, completely irrelevant in her mental state, her emotional and her physiological state. What is quite interesting is that when bitches have been mated, their vulva will shut down pretty soon after they've been mated. They've been caught basically, and they're shutting down to say, right, I've achieved pregnancy, I'm finished now, thanks very much, I'm not receptive to other males. Whereas a bitch who hasn't been mated, her vulva will still be quite large, so she's still receptive to other males. So yeah, that's quite interesting. Timeline is fundamental. Weight first. Body weight is fundamental, as is the timeline. So if you've got a bitch that's carrying any weight whatsoever going into her pregnancy or her phantom pregnancy, she will hold on to that weight. She won't let any of it go because she needs it in her mind to sustain pregnancy. So that's really important, that if you want to avoid her developing mammary development, whether you're showing your bitch or not, you've got to strip the weight off them. It's a difficult balance if you're still showing, because obviously you don't want to put a skinny bitch in the ring, but then if you're going to have a bitch with great big udders, you're not going to be showing her anyway. So I would always take the choice and strip her off, really get her very, very lean. We don't want to see pronounced ribs, but we do need to get that weight off them. No weight carried on over here, over the shoulders, a nice defined waist, and nice tight body all over is really important for both states, whether they're going into pregnancy or not. I'm waffling, I know. Let me focus. So timeline is really important. Bitches are generally mated on around 12 days after they've come into season. I say around. Bitches can come into ovulation at day 8, or they can come into ovulation at day 20. It's really, but generally we always used to say, before we had blood testing, we used to say mate on day 11 and 13, and that would cover it. So let's pitch for day 12. So let's say she's had her season on, let's choose 30th of April, for example. Day 12, she's going to ovulate. We don't mate on ovulation, we mate a bitch 24 to 36 hours after ovulation, by which time the egg has dropped and is ripe for conception. So that takes us to let's say day 13, say 13, 14, let's say 14th to be on the safe side. So 14th of May to be on the safe side. So 14th of May plus 3 weeks, what's that? 21st, 22nd of May. So the reason this timeline is really important is that you need to count from the day that she has been mated, in inverted commas, virtually or not. 3 weeks after that is when she will start having some mammary development. That's when your prolactin hormone really starts cutting in. So her teats will change shape. She'll start to pink up, as we call them. You might see a slight change in the firmness of the teats. You won't see many other changes. There'll be mood changes with a pregnant bitch is generally hungrier than a bitch that's infantum. So a bitch that is pregnant will be really begging for food and demanding food, whereas the phantom bitch generally tends not to quite so much, in my experience. Counting that timeline, so you've got to that 3 weeks after mating, not after season, but after mating, so after ovulation. That's when you need to really start cutting in with things like Urtica. Now, Urtica can also promote milk, so you've got to be careful with it. So I would say Urtica, the homeopathic remedy, I would use 15C twice a day. Urtica is derived from stinging nettles, incidentally, which are a natural astringent. Lynn Wheatman can tell us more about this. Lynn's on our group. She's a brilliant homeopathist, and she might correct me if I'm wrong about the amount of Urtica to give. I've never found any success with raspberry leaf, unfortunately. What I have found really big success with is a herb called parsley peart, which is P-I-E-R-T, particular type of parsley. Who knew? If you can get hold of some parsley peart and add a teaspoon just as dried herb into her food each day, it acts as a natural diuretic, and that's really great for brassicas are also really super. Things like cabbage, chop a dark cabbage up, a nice dark Savoy cabbage, half of it, and then steam it or boil it or whatever. Steam is better because you retain the nutrients, and replace half her food with half the cabbage. Bit of yogurt on top or veg stock or whatever makes it really tasty, but mixed in with the meat, they generally really love it. And brassicas are really, really good at purging, so they're a super diuretic. And that's really where we're at. You can, if you haven't caught it, or if it has got really bad, I remember my pinchers were just impossible. Dobes are really quite good to manage. But if you can't catch it, you could use oh God, it's gone straight out my mind. What's that? Galostop. So Galostop, which you can get from the vets. It's vitamin B6, which is also another thing you can use. You could use vitamin B6, 100 mg a day for 7 days maximum, right back at the start. That helps. But Galostop is a pretty good, effective dryer up of both the emotional state and the physical state, physiologically of. God, you can tell I'm trying to concentrate, can't you? Sorry, bear with me. It works anyway. Galostop works really well to clear up phantom pregnancies. The thing that you do have to be very careful of with phantoms, with Galostop, is that do not ever give it for any longer than 3 days, because the carboline, which is an active ingredient in Galostop, can actually promote seasons. I think Di Burry and I found this out many years ago when we were using it, and suddenly the bitch would come in season again, which was a nightmare. So I have talked for ages and much longer than I intended to, but I can't make these things shorter because I don't have a script. Hope that helps, and if you've got any problems then let me know. But yeah, it's time, wait on the bitch going into her season, and critical thinking on the timeline, and that 3 weeks after mating, that's your point at which you've really got to act, and give those greens under Urtica, B6, etc. and the parsley. Okay, take care. I'm gone. Bye.